Yeah, yeah, make sure so. All right, we're gonna retest this. Looks like we should be good now, guys. Let's see. 1 2 1 2. We get pulled back up. Thank you guys for letting us know. And again, just build anticipation. Let's see. Get it pulled up so I can see some comments now. Okay, got Sam. Good job. Philip, you got me, don't you, man? Philip's got me. All right, again, introduce yourself because right now here's what they're heard. Go ahead, Coach.
All right, Alan Beckett.
AB.
And yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate what you do. Appreciate you for high school athletics, young men and women everywhere. And I think that's researching you a little bit. Didn't know anything about you guys, but you're doing a lot of good stuff. And I'm excited. I like to get positives out there. I like the vision of some of, our Rainbow City and our Gadsden mayors, and I like that you're reaching out to those guys. And I see you talk to, Steve Smith, which is one of the goats of high school football, and I just like what you're doing there.
Appreciate that. If you can hear the conversations, we call it our pre-council when Steve's just sitting in, kind of like you did before the show, just talking. We end up talking 45 minutes about old school baseball.
Yeah.
Steve's the dude, man.
Steve, as kids, Steve had one of the most marvelous collection of baseball cards. We went to a lot of Braves games and stuff like that, and he was and he I don't know if he still does it now, but for the longest he had some of the best fantasy league teams. He would have. Steve is so talented. He could have been a rocket scientist or CEO, or he would have been a great general manager. I mean, the guy's IQ is off the chart, and that is his. He's good at that stuff.
Someone also told me he could probably run the cell block at Shawshank Prison.
Listen, if that dude took it on, I think he could do it. He's just that he's that talented.
No question. So you've been in the game a long time, right? Your father was an amazing coach for many, many years. You've had a lot of successes in your time. You tend to be a little. You give the helping hand, man. You want to build the programs. You and Kyle Davis are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, I have. Maybe that's the youth director in me, but I've taken several programs that, just to be honest with you, nobody wanted at the time. There was a zero line. If it would have been a ride at Six Flags, there would have been nobody in line at that line.
Yes, sir.
And build it from the bottom up. Those take time now. Those are not microwave. And I know we're a microwave society, but those take a long time, take a lot of patience. You have to cut out some outside noise. You have to have good people around you, staff. You have to have kids that'll commit, good parents, and you have to have administration that'll buy into what you're doing.
Yeah, and for people didn't hear the first, we started the show before I plugged in the sound. Philip, I need you. Jeff's not with us today. He's being a good dad as always. His son's playing in a baseball tournament at Chakalaka, so he's going to be. I don't think it's going to be too warm today, Coach. So you remember all those cold weather baseball games?
Yeah, I've sat through a lifetime of those. So I'll be honest with you, I don't miss them.
I'm sure. So again, just so everyone knows, and you guys can post questions, and we'll go through some of those. I reach out to you simply. Hey, would you like to be on the show?
Yes.
We've had everybody knows how we do things here. We're very organic. We don't prep. That's not what we do. This isn't one of those shows, right? We just conversate and like to talk. But I did talk to a ton of people about you. I do my work. I want to know my question. This is a good dude, right? For the people who actually know, I won't name names, but several. Some in this area, some not in this area. To the man, fantastic human being. That's what they get. Great football coach, without bar none. Fantastic football coach, even better human being. So just wanted you to know that you're highly thought of.
Which means a lot. Yeah, that's what it's about.
Absolutely. Your impact on kids from Winterboro to Gadsden. Let's talk about Gadsden City for a second. Let's jump in. Gadsden City is the OC. coming from Winterboro that was night and day as far as just talk about the amount of kids you had to choose from.
Yeah, and you're going from a place with, maybe one assistant, and as far as operations, you're doing everything. Till you go to a place that we're 7A, and we called it the Region of Death, and it was the
You wasn't wrong.
Yeah, and it was it's really run. Ollie does a good job running it operation wise, and it was you basically have analysts similar to what you would have at a JUCO level, not a SEC level, but a JUCO. So it's a pretty big operation to run. So it was great to get that insight and see how well he ran it.
So funny. One of the articles I was reading as you came over, been introduced, they said it's gonna as the OC there, it's gonna feel like you're playing a video game. Mm-hmm. With all these kids, no disrespect to Winterboro kids, just not a lot of them. You had some good players over there.
We had extreme athletes, but we didn't have a way to develop them because we were just so limited to coming, to that kind of situation. It was really good.
How's Ali?
Ali's he's a fantastic guy. He's a big personality, a lot of charisma, and he does a great job of. I think he's just a kid, somebody these kids can relate to. Mm-hmm. He's been there, very similar situations. And there again, they were patient with him. They were in the 7A killer region. People were patient with him, when he came in after a lot of turnover post-Joe Billingsley. And then we finally get some stability with the guy. And we stay with him, and we let him see it through. And
look at it.
And look out, 2 back-to-back region championships.
Man, and those kids will run through a wall for Ali.
Very much so, yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
And this isn't about him really. I just want to try to set the tone a little bit. And so you accept the job at Gaston. Mm-hmm. Kind of short notice, right? It was late in the process.
That's right.
So you really didn't tough to have no kind of camp to speak of, right? You had to go in and you're learning on the fly. Yeah,
and I was with Faulkner. I had retired there, private school, so being able to work there. And but this offer came up, really fit my family, being here close. And it was during fall camp. Obviously, they were in a pretty desperate situation. They called me. I didn't call them. And Dr. Cosby reached out and said, "Hey, we need you. We need somebody to grow this program, come in and be stable."
Sure.
And I said, let me think about it and pray about it. Got back with them, somewhat hesitant. I knew it was down, 9-61 the last 7 years. That's obviously it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that program's down, and there's some things wrong. If you continue on the same course and you're gonna get the same results.
Yeah.
And it was I get over there, and the kids were amazing. The parents were amazing. I mean, we're having parent meetings, and I just tell them how we were going to love them and what we were going to do. And man, they were clapping, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
parents really, but they were happy to be able to field a team. They were close enough fielding a team.
True.
And the kids were. We had no seniors that we had to go, you know what, they're not in, we got to move them back. And none of those situations. Now, were there issues? Yeah. I mean, because the steps along building a program, kids hadn't played in 3 years, and we were getting kids out. The quarterback, basically, they just brought him out to make sure they had a team. And,
sure.
Massive issues there. Great kid. And but the kids were what was amazing about it and made you go, man, I like this place. Teachers up and down the hallway, great to be a part of. Parents, people when they said, can I, anything I can do, they did. And parents just filled in the void of some of the financial needs as far as doing some things. Matt had worked really hard up to a point, Matt Harris, and he'd fought the good fight. He'd fought it, and for a lot of reasons. And then, I applaud him. And so I can't, and then I was like, I'm all in on this place. These kids are all in. They need to see something good happen. So, yeah.
Well, my experience, every time we would go see Matt, I don't think he had an office. He was either working on the field, doing something in the weight room. We never saw him in the office.
That's right. Tireless worker.
Shinbone Ridge is different. People don't know.
That's right.
It's different out there, and a lot of good people. over in North Gadsden. But so when you had a tough season, right?
But that was expected. This wasn't my first rodeo with rebuilding.
Sure.
Like you said earlier, we came into Collinsville. They'd been 13-37. They were borderline having a program. To be honest with you, there was like 18 kids. Nothing resembles what it is now.
But you had growth. You had growth, though.
Yeah.
You got the big win to start the season. That had to be fantastic.
And there again, Winterboro had 3 coaches that had been over 3 years in history of the school. There was no stability, and they were total rebuild situation. It was a bad situation. And then Cedar Bluff had not been what Cedar Bluff had been, and we ended up winning the first region championship in 4 years, which is not what they were used to. So I had been into a situation where you come in, you go, okay, let's build. Let's teach each kid. That's fundamentally just coach kids. Just coach it and just start to grow it. And it's not going to be, which is your better dinner? Is it your better dinner, a TV dinner that you put in a microwave, or when Grandma starts that Thanksgiving dinner about 3 days early and just cooks everything? You smell it, and it's coming.
You speak my language, Coach.
But it's coming together over a couple of days.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what you have to do in these situations. You have to be patient. Outside noise, you have to you just got to tunnel vision on all that. But it sure is fun when you take one that's, and that's where we were. Been there, done that. So we were growing another one, planting seeds that it take you a couple years to see it, but it's growing, it's starting.
Harvest ain't easy.
Harvest is not easy, but it's a fun process.
But you got to win it. Asbury, I think, is when you got started off with Asbury.
We did,
and you finished the season with a win.
We did.
So you don't win by accident.
No, but there again, it was just a matter of wins and losses. What I was proud of was they were still playing.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to grow is still play. That was just kind of, we felt like the beginning and laying the foundation and the start, especially after we had several players had moved out, transferred out, and coming into just a unique situation. We were just trying to be stable, grow the program, and get to know the kids. I'm definitely a players first guy, and the inmates aren't going to run to prison, but at the same time, man, I'm going to love on. My big deal is it's not a 4-year deal; it's a 40-year deal.
Yes,
I got 2 weddings coming up this week. I had a Collinsville's soccer coach. He comes by Southside. They played Westbrook the other day, and he said, "I wanted my kids to meet you."
That's awesome.
And that's what it's about. So
yeah.
So we were starting the process of getting to know the kids, building fundamentals, and not that I thought Matt had done a lot of good things. We were just trying to pick up where he left off on the battle.
Well, being cohesive, it's tough, man. It's not easy, but I don't think anybody would say that you had a bad season, right? Because true people who understand what's going on in high school athletics, wins and losses is way down the list, right? You got to get wins and losses to be able to keep building, but that's a byproduct of building a program.
Yeah.
And everyone, there was some talk, hey, maybe we're excited, we got things going on, it's growing, it's improving, attitude. Everybody wants to talk about changing culture. It's not easy.
It's not easy. And, our big thing was trying to get kids to care. We had Richard Kohler, who's he's worked with Indiana, Troy, UAB.
Yeah.
He works with Steve currently. You mentioned Ali earlier.
Yeah.
I introduced them the other day. They had a meeting the other day, but he does a great job with team building. Works with a lot of high schools. So we were doing that, dealing with adversity. I was really proud. We had we had a team chaplain. We had about 8 get saved during the fall. And
you had an amazing season then.
Right. So we had a lot of, I felt like, growth as far as building mentally going into the just laying that foundation yet again. So no, is anybody happy with the 2-8? Absolutely not. But as far as they kept playing and kept playing hard, that was the beginning.
Well, there's a ton of rumblings, even before the news broke that you were going to step down and leave the program. A lot of rumblings in different communities, and from the Gadsden community, the different sects of North Gadsden, and parents saying this, saying that. You never know what to believe from an outsider. I'm an outsider to North Gadsden, right? Back when Swain was there, I was an insider, right? That's my dude. Man, I love Swain Morris, and I hadn't spent a lot of time out that way. We got families that come to this church from out there. So some kids play baseball, and so we love Gaston, right? We do. So to hear the fact that you stepped down, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on? So please let us know whatever you feel comfortable talking about. A lot of people want to know the real reason. Everybody, we've heard rumors.
Yeah.
So whatever you're comfortable with talking about.
No, I'm totally transparent and definitely not here to get anybody or whatever. But I mean, at the same time, as far as talking about it, one of the things is I kind of went back and forth. I didn't comment in Gadsden Times. I didn't, I just said, hey, I'm not going to sit here and be bitter or whatever.
Sure.
And then, I even was kind of back and forth on whether to do this. And, one of the scriptures from yesterday was dealing, it was in Isaiah, and it was just talking about stand your ground for what was right, basically. And then, several kids have reached out. So I guess my when it comes to that, I would just love to see, and let me say this too. Being an administrator that's not the easiest thing. You're dealing with a lot of English, math, history, science. You're trying to get kids from point A to point B and get them through school. To me, you want it to be a good experience. You want to reach out to your teachers and make sure that they're backed and you're there for them. There's a lot of moving parts that goes with that. There was a time with all my dad's 41 years of coaching. He was assistant principal at the time, and along with his coaching, and of course I think he was the discipline guy. But I got to see that from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The other side of it, and then I've got endless friends that are principals or superintendents, and even work with our state superintendent. We worked at Chanticleer at Jacksonville State, so I definitely consider him a friend. So I hear their side to it. I have a superintendent calls me every Monday, and so I know both sides to it. So I know it's not an easy thing. But as far as I didn't resign. There was no resignation. I got called in. I was out fundraising for the school at the time. I got called in, and so on my end of things, I didn't leave or quit the kids. I had no rumblings. There was never anything. I had zero parent complaints, parent issues. Wow, that was nice. And the kids we had no kids that we were conflicting with, or it was kind of. It was like, wow, is this real life? Teachers, it was listen, and I've been places where you have a teacher here or there that was just kind of it was just sports wasn't their thing, and they kind of let you know, and they these teachers were saying, hey, let me let you know about this kid. Okay, we're going to get a plate, we're going to get in the bleachers, and I'm going to be a second daddy, and we're going to make sure, then we're going to go back in there. Instead of working out, we're fixing to do science, history, math, whatever. No issues. They were. I thought we had. So no, I just to be clear, I had no idea that was coming.
Okay.
And it probably was working harder than anywhere I've ever worked. And I'm retired. I'm on 49% contracted, so had more time. To get in the hallways and kids in ISS to get in their ear and that kind of thing. I'm a youth director at heart.
Yeah,
and sports probably coach different. So being impactful is really big. But as far as knowing what was going to take place, no, didn't know.
Wow. No. So this is a decision that came from admin. It came from central office. To your knowledge, how did this came?
Well, and
whose decision was it?
Yeah, and in my meeting, there was zero comment. Outside, I was told that it was a 1-year deal, and I don't know many coaches in the state, and there was no line to take the deal, take the job. I don't know many coaches in the state was going to leave a working at a college to go take a 9 and 61 job and not, be looking for the long term.
Sure.
And for a short term, nothing against kids. That's just not a very sound move to take. And then the rest of it was just kind of no comment, just wouldn't know. And then, I reached out to Dr. Cosby, and there was no, I didn't get a return call. So,
well, don't feel bad about that. I've called Alan the last 3 days.
Yeah.
He hadn't returned my call either.
Right.
But he's busy being superintendent.
Right.
And it's a tough job.
And it was a tough job.
Yeah, tough job. So out of the blue, you are no longer the head coach of Gaston High School. Plenty of rumors on why you were let go floating around out there. I don't know what you want to speak to, what you don't want to speak to. Okay,
you might fill me in because I don't know.
I'll ask the question. So, one of the rumors is they were incredibly upset, them being the admin at the school, about you were spending money for helmets, football helmets.
Yeah,
which has to be done. Right?
It has to be done. That's legality,
years.
And I have, even I've been at schools, a myriad of schools, and some of the schools are really invested in athletics, and some of them that's just not as much their priority.
Sure.
But all of them were united in one thing: you reduce that liability. Those hats you put on your head, you're protecting those kids. They're playing a violent game, and,
sure.
and we got to put those kids number one. Secondly, for their part. They've always said, hey, from a liability end of things, because there is a precedent in the past that you're going to get sued if you don't.
Absolutely.
Well, post-COVID especially, those things are outsourced. We outsource so many things in our country now. That's a whole different show. But they go to China. So it doesn't come – it takes a long time for it to come back. Matter of fact, he let me know several of them had to be kicked out. Well, that was good to know because we didn't want to put kids in unsafe helmets.
Sure.
That's standard. You have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the rule is every other year, but you have to do that just from protecting your kids and liability. And we can do a tribunal of however many coaches there are in the state, they all send them off.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's the so yes, there was I didn't know that was not standard, so I didn't know that.
Well, again, when I heard that rumor, I said, first thing I said, no way, not possible that happened, because everyone knows they get reconditioned every 2 years. Got to, right? Yeah. Here's not a question, Coach, but a comment from a family whose kids go to Gaston. It says schools need to know, parents look at how you treat people. How you treat one person is how you would treat everyone. My son didn't play football there, but he did respect the football coach. So that's good to see that for sure. A lot of good people out there.
There are a lot of good people. That's a hidden gem there.
No question.
That place is a hidden gem, and I was, and you say, well, he's going to say that about everywhere. Hey, we're all God's children, but that place is special. And that one. So
why, if you want to get this out, I'm going to ask the question because why do I care? Well, I do care. I love Gaston. I love Gaston. I love those kids. Love those families. From a football standpoint, what is going on to have 3 football coaches in 3 years now? What do we need to know? People who aren't in the know, what do we need to know?
Yeah, and I just think schools are, there's priorities at each school, and there's either a commitment or there's, or there's not. I mean, we just seem to be, there's a Grand Canyon in our state with our schools, and it, unless a prolific player drops from the sky, as far as building a program, they're going to have a hard time having success. Players and coaches win games, administrators win championships. And
that's good.
Yeah, and it's just, you can follow the smoke there, as far as where it's at. I just think even if you're not a athletic-minded principal, here's the good thing that comes from athletics. All right, when you go to a classroom reunion 10, 20, 30 years together, you know where the football players and the athletes in general, they're going to congregate together and they're going to remember those times. Those times meant a lot to them, and if they meant a lot to them, that young man, it's kind of like this. We had a superintendent get up in DeKalb County. We turned the program around from 1337 to 43 and 23. He got up one day and he says, in a county deal, and he goes, I want to use Collinsville as an example. He said when they went from 13 and 37 to 43 and 23, truancy got better, grades got up better, state test scores got better, school spirit got better, people leaving got better. And he said, I correlate I draw a line to that, and he said, and in other sports got better. So, and then it's huge because that coach can help be a second set of parents to that kid as far as making them have good, helping make sure that they turn in their work, they act right, So I think it's way bigger than sports, And there again, if it's important to that kid, it's important, and it's no different than if a band kid, that's important to them. The extracurricular, they're going to remember extracurricular more than they do the classroom. Is that right? I'm not saying that because my mother was in the classroom 27 years. School was big. We're English, But if it helps, if the extracurricular makes their inside their classroom in any way affects it in a positive manner, that's important. That's important.
Ton of people commented. Coach Mark O'Brien says he sends his helmets off every year just as a precaution.
All right.
And all right, Coach Teddy Whip. Okay, all right. When the defense coordinator, strength coach, is demanding I ask this question, who am I to say no? He says you certainly need to be. You need to be coach. I'm adly kind of. Can't go back and find the question. That you need to be coaching. You come take over the defense for Teddy, and Teddy will just keep your stats.
Yeah.
That you need to be coaching.
No, I think they got a really good thing going in there. That train is plugging along, and they're on course for a blue.
Coach Larry Williams said you stood up for him twice. He'll stand up for you anytime.
Appreciate that. It means a lot.
You got some family members who say he's saying it without saying it. Coach, do you want to say it? They can't fire you twice.
No, they can't. But my main thing is what I'd love to see at that school and others in that similar situation is you just want to make sure that they matter. They matter. So because I think it's really important. It's important to young man, and that's whatever. If I was administrator, I would have I think it was. One of the schools in North Georgia, I heard about this. They had every kid in the school be in an extracurricular activity.
Sure.
All right, and why is that? Because they belong to something. I had a kid come to me last week, Monday, and he said, had a counselor come see me from the county. He said, I used to get in some issues, Coach. This was I just sit there and listen to him, and he goes, I used to get in trouble. And I said, really? And he goes, but I told her she don't have to come anymore. I'm a part of something. Play football.
That's strong.
And he had changed his body. He was a ninth grader. I can't help but think about it. He cried like a baby the day I left, and because I poured a lot of time into him.
Well, rumor is there's going to be a lot of kids leave, right? If that happens, I don't know, but that's talk. People are upset. Right, they're upset that the way it went down. They're upset the way the program is being kind of swept aside. I don't know the factualities of that. Just like you, I'm listening to people talk, and a lot of people want to talk. How is this an attractive job at this point for the next person?
I can't. I don't know with that, and then and I think it's a special place. I'd hate for kids to leave a special school. And in other ways, with really good friends and that, I I would have a hard time taking that job. Yeah, and we talk. In the coaching world, we're at conferences and
Sure.
and we're all interrelated. And I lay my phone literally 30 to 40 times has rang the last 3 days, and I appreciate that because we're definitely a brotherhood in the coaching world. So everybody's aware of situations. I don't know, and you just kind of hope that some things get restructured. There's some things I would have loved to have known kind of coming into the situation. It was more of a, hey, we're glad to have you. It's just we're fielding a team. We got us a guy, and I think big. I don't want to be. I don't think God put us on the earth to be average. I don't want to bend any rules. Don't want to go. But I want to have success. I think that's really, and I think kids want to have success. And if it doesn't, if you lose a game, you learn how to deal with adversity. And I felt like we were following the blueprint and heading in the right direction. I felt like we were going to have a pretty big turnaround this next year. Thought we were in a region we could compete in. Definitely getting a number of kids. We had about 20 new kids coming out, and I just felt like some of the pieces were going to be pretty good. And we'd had a really good off season. And success breeds success. Our basketball had a lot of success. It was a lot of fun, and I think that just shows you the community pride and the people were just excited, and that's good for a community. That was good for a school. That was good for a group of kids. Well, I think that can be replicated. I knew it could because we've done it before. I thought that could be replicated over in football. We were headed there.
Again, if I'm looking at positives, the cupboard is not bare at Gaston. There's some great young kids. I mean, look at what basketball did. Incredible basketball. Some great families, some great stuff going on. I can't speak to the administration part. I don't know. I met the principal. I had a couple conversations over the years, but I don't know her. I don't know. I'm not in the know at Gaston, right? A lot of these schools, I'm in the know. Gaston, I am not.
I'm probably not in the know either.
Got a great question here.
Yeah.
First of all, Jack Justice he loves you, by the way.
Yeah.
Jackie Paul loves you. Mark says you can be on his staff anytime. Here's a question from a family in Gaston. How was the relationship in-house with fellow coaches at Gaston? Seems like they'd want to build off of the success that basketball had.
Yeah, and I don't know. Somebody called me the other night and said, "Well, I guess you don't you must not get along with other coaches." Well, let's go through that. First off, there's not a lot of other coaches. There's not. The girls basketball coach, we talked constantly. I coached youth basketball there at Gaston. Not a lot of football coaches out doing that. And then I talked to her about moving my daughter over, and she helped with the youth. She's growing it from bottom up. She gets it. It's going to take a minute. We're a tremendous person in Ebony Ferguson. And so right there, we get along really well. JJ Ponce was a volunteer, amazing person, just amazing. So, I mean, I don't know of anybody that doesn't get along with him. He's just, I learned a lot just being around him. He's one that makes you better. Coach Michael Merriman reached out to me when the job opened, the basketball coach. We talked constantly throughout the season. I'm the one that's reaching out. Hey, what's our plan here? I did a pep squad. We had for basketball. I actually helped write signs. I stood in the student section. We lose our last game, and he had told me he was trepidatious about something, and he's yelling across the court to me, I told you. We communicated throughout.
Yeah.
And I talked to him more than anybody.
What a good dude.
Yeah. And amazing what he's done there.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And he was really my team I coached. I went and watched basketball, and I said, you tell me, kind of what you do. And so I was trying to instrument that with the 8U team. So, and then Coach Pruitt didn't get to know his wife. His wife had a baby, so I was really never around her. And then the other one was Coach Pruitt with the baseball. Hey, I told him anytime having a baseball background, I'd help him. He asked me recently, said, hey, come out some. And I sat in the dugout some of their games. I didn't say a word. I just clapped, and because I like baseball. And so there you have it.
I hear you, Steve Smith.
Yeah. And there you, I am. We are similar in that way. That I'm a guy watching Australia Open at 2 a.m. and I don't know many other people. I like sports from one end to the other.
Me too.
Yeah, and I think sports are great in so many ways. So that was a rumor out there. There's your coaches. There they are.
Okay. Again, Whitmire says you need to be coaching. You need to be coaching. So you got an open invitation at Coosa.
Well, and I appreciate that. You kind of come out of a situation like this, and it's life is 10% what happens and 90% how you deal with it. And I do love coaching and teaching. I'm a little raw right now. It's a little tough, and it's a little different being an Indian than being a chief after you've been one a long time. And I felt like not only that I felt like we were reaching a lot of kids. I saw, nobody else saw, but I saw we were about to turn the corner in the next couple of years. And then I jumped into 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We were working with those kids, had a little more time, building a relationship, having a lot of fun. And I felt like, especially when we got down, when we had spent 6 years with kids, I felt like, now how good, don't know, but I saw good things coming.
Well, you don't have to win a state championship to have an amazingly successful program and be very impactful to the kids and the community and the school.
And I understand anybody's doubt. When a program's been 90-61, when I tell you where we're going to win, I'm not saying next year we were going to win 12-15. We were about to go into the 6-7 range, and I am a clinical. Call it as you see it. We were about to win 6-7 games. Pieces were falling together. Haven't done it before. Last year I told people around me, I said, this is a 1 to 2 win season. Yeah. But we're going to grow and we're going to get better because of the, situation we were in. But in that time, there were going to be wins.
Oh yeah,
and you can count the off the field. We were going to win off the field as far as mission work and some of those other things and reaching kids. We were going to do that. We were also going to do what people didn't believe. We were going to win some games. Mm-hmm. Now, how long would it take it? Don't know if we're going to get to the state championship level, but we were fixing to enter another phase, and not for a 1 year. For a multiple year, you got to get that foundation. Those are long-term deals to get them the way you want them. And you got to have people understand where you're headed there.
A couple of questions I'll throw out here. One's just a statement. One says, Miss Kelly Woodward, appreciate you always watching. When she retires, it will turn around, exclamation point. It was a comment that was made. Her being the principal, I'm assuming. My other question, what was the question? Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly, I missed that one. She doesn't believe sports and school stats coincide.
I can't speak for anybody else. I can tell you I've seen a plethora of administrators, and like I say, I'm having friends, so I can give you all over the place. And everybody has something that they come in. It's their deep belief when they run a school, and everybody's got that. But I cannot speak to. I'll be honest with you, we didn't have enough conversations I couldn't tell you a lot about, where we were headed, or it just.
Well, obviously you're on this show, so there's no kind of NDA, that was signed. You can speak freely.
I'm retired at this point, and my whistle's hung up. So, but I'm not out to get anybody. My only thing is, I look back to Gaston. I love those kids. Hated to look in their eyes. All right, if it's not me, hey, put those kids in a good place, because I hated seeing. And not only that, somebody that'll pour into them and care about not just the really good kids, the athletes. Some of those other kids that they were belonging and they were going to be a part.
Let's see. So again, this is, we are in a church, right? So, but you take church with you wherever you go, so that's awesome. I also heard that about you, which is incredible. So now is your chance. You can look in the camera. If you got anything on your chest you want to get rid of, you want to say it, talk to the kids. You got a lot of them watching, actually, a lot of kids from Gaston watching today. To the administrator, coaches, whomever, look in the camera, coach. Now's your time.
No,
to
just
say
outside
whatever.
of, I really love those kids and just and want to see them do well. Man, they grabbed me and got my heart right away. So
sure.
man, that's they are some awesome dudes. So and girls, what was neat there. The day I got fired, and I thought this was ironic, and I'm walking down the hallway, and kids were like, "Coach, Coach," and "I love you, Coach." Listen, I hadn't been there but a couple months, and this was guys, girls, whatever. Such a neat place, and then it was enduring to hear that. So I felt like we were being impactful. But anyway, nothing outside of that. I have thought about as far as how can you help some of these kind of situations? Well, and I thought of this before I got out. I thought about, and I don't know that I'll do this. We always think about things, but I always thought about. I get so many calls from coaches, superintendents, coaches coming into the workforce saying, "Hey, can you help me there? Do you know this guy? Do you know that guy?" Or principals saying, "Hey, do you know a guy in social studies?" I'm always getting these calls, and I thought, well, you know what? There is a job board for just overall education, but I thought about coming up with something where we kind of connect the dots. And also, in SEC, when a job opens, all right, what do? They do a search firm. Search firm comes in and they say, they do the backgrounds on the coaches, but they kind of connect. What are you looking for? What are the trustees look for? Well, that's them, and obviously that's big money. I thought about on the high school level, because in an administrative class, they don't give you the first thing about athletics, but it's the front porch of your school or any extracurricular. They're talking academics, and they should. Well, it sure would help some administrators to be able to connect, for somebody to kind of come in and say, "Listen, you're saying this is what you want. Let me tell you a little bit about the coaching world and make things better for you." Mm-hmm. Help these coaches that are looking, and I don't know. I'm kind of kicking around something like that. I think that would help both a non-athletic administrator, and I think it would help a coach find a job.
What about school choice before I get you out of here? It's a hot topic. A lot of stuff.
It is a hot topic, and you know what? I'm kind of all over the place. And I tell you what's interesting, just kind of where we're headed, period. We're, Florida, there's zero borders on, where a player can go. Man, let's be honest, transfer portal is just as alive in high school as it is in college. NIL's coming.
It is. And
it's at their heart, kids are still the same kids, but it is a different landscape they are in right now.
Sure.
Social media. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing shakes out. I don't think it's over, but, what are your thoughts on where we're headed?
I'm for it. I'm 100% for it. Obviously, I'm a part of that social media mantra, right? So, and for communication. But it's always, again, I'm waiting to read the bill front to back to see exactly what's in it, because there's going to be pork in it, just like anything else is passed. So before I give my total thoughts, I want to see it. In some instances, it's going to be fantastic. Truly, there's some bigger cities that people are plagued to, you have to go to this failing school system, right? That's the heart of it, and I'm all for, find you a way out, right? It's going to turn into a transfer portal. Is it? 100% it is. Yeah. And I'm okay with that, for the fact is, because I live in this city and our football program is trash. It is, right? And I think my kid has an opportunity to go play some JUCO ball somewhere. I'm not talking SAC people are going to find you. We're talking about the smaller school kids, right?
Right.
It's tough for those guys sometimes. And just right down the road, it's an amazing program that I want my kid to be a part of. More. Let's take a Westbrook. Let's take a Coosa. Who doesn't want their kid to be involved in a good Christian school. It's Christian first at those schools.
Right.
Right? You know, it may say Westbrook Christian or Coosa Christian. That may be second, but I promise you, in both those atmospheres for the people I talk to, the Christian is first. And great athletics. 100% true. 100% true there. They do things the right way, but you look at those test scores, you look at those kind of things, and not that they don't have issues. Kids are going to be kids, right? It's going to happen, but I'm a fan of it in theory. I want to read the fine print. I want to see what port goes on with that.
Yeah, and you don't want it to be abused. You
Sure.
want to make sure there's some. You've got to have some parameters. What are the parameters of some sort?
You're asking me as Kapow. You're asking me as a member of the High School Athletic Association,
Well, both.
right? Because does it matter to the high school association? Just because you're allowed to transfer, are they going to change their rules? Their rules are their rules. Just because you can take your kid to any school you want to now. If this kid will have you, you got to sit out a year before you play. Right. So are those rules going to change? I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
I know I have my opinions on the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I've been a credentialed media member for 20 plus years. I also know what to say, what not to say. I've been in the game a long time. I want to wait and see. It's kind of where I'm at. At this point, I'm for it. Whatever's better for the kids, whichever better education, not just athletically, right? Because some of these, we don't have an IMG here in Alabama yet, right? We have Thompson, we have a Hoover, right? Yeah, we have some big time programs, some big time things. You got look down south. Look at those schools. Sorry. What up, Ronnie Royal? That's my dude. He's doing big things at NC State this year. Watch, I'm telling you. So you got some of those programs down in Mobile and some other places, but man, you got a ton of people watching, ton of people saying you're an amazing dude, great guy, best of luck in your future endeavors, man. You're loved by community. You've not been in very long. That says a lot. That's a great community too.
It's a great community. It's a really good place.
Slow down too, you'll get a ticket. Just saying. Coach, anything in closing? The floor is yours.
No, I just again thank you for what you're doing. It's exciting. In this county, what's some of the things going on? I like to let's get back and find some positives in the middle of all this. I think BJ Brooks is doing some amazing things at Sardis. They just had a really good basketball team as well, and obviously baseball.
Girls softball doing things too, right?
Yeah, and my buddy Derek Sewell up at West End, and kind of a similar situation but got amazing Ron Darty. You got a former.
You said amazing Ron Darty?
Yeah, a former
Hoax Bluff
coach
quarterback.
guy. Yeah, and
he can
doing
spin
well.
it a little bit.
And Hoax Bluff, man, is that not a strong knit community? Now I'm a Cherokee County guy, so we were raised.
You can't talk
we were raised to
about
hate and
Hoax
green. To be honest,
Yeah.
but God, look what they've accomplished through the years.
Great swimming pool too.
Yeah. Oh wow. And Scott Martin, my buddy over at Glencoe.
Dude, he's incredible.
Is
he playing golf this morning? He's probably playing golf.
If it does it end in a Y?
Yeah,
Monday end in a Y. He's on the golf course
golf.
right now. I can guarantee you. But getting outside the box, and he's a perfect fit for coming in and turning around a community.
No question. So, what advice you got for our mutual friend Kyle Davis? He'll be here Thursday.
There again, similar situation, and he's coming in and taking over situations that they went a long line for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And making the most out of it. And he's a guy that's going to grind and hustle and do it the right way and knows a lot of ball. So, man, that's a guy after that's a guy right after my own heart. So, yeah.
That's right, Scott. No comment. Well, Coach, thank you so much, and it's been a real treat. Hope to have you on down the road a little bit, see what's going on. We want to say thank you to our sponsors, Pierce & Pierce, attorneys at law. More her than him. That's just my opinion. Twin City Used Cars. Go check those guys out. Sit up straight. Lil Burtons. Thank you, Jamie Grant. Etowah County Tip Line, Sheriff Jonathan Horton. King's Olive Oil. If you hadn't been there, Coach,
I have.
Best store in Gadsden. Great answer.
I actually made a purchase there recently.
Trent Thrasher Construction. Thank you guys for all you do. And Coach AB, we look forward to seeing what you decide to do. Your phone's not going to stop ringing, I promise you. You need to be around these kids.